Okay, welcome everybody. This is our second online coronavirus online edition of the WordPress Brisbane Meetup. Seems like it's about all we can have these days is online meetups. Okay, this month it is May. We're all volunteers here, me and Dion, and there's a whole heap of others who help us every month. Nobody gets paid. Everybody volunteers their time. The speakers volunteer their time. The organisers volunteer their time. And if anybody would like to help out, especially when we go back to face-to-face, it would be most appreciated. The more hands we have on deck helping us every month, the better. Just want to say thanks to our sponsors who are saving a fortune at the moment with everything going on because we can't afford to get people. But we truly thank them for their sponsorship, even in these times. So Kinetics, they're a great local company based in Ipswich. Amazing guys, very supportive of the community. If you're looking for WordPress hosting, give them a call. Plesk. Plesk is a GUI for the server. So if anybody's used cPanel, is familiar with that, Plesk is very much like that, if not better. And the guys from Kinetics use Plesk. So if you're looking for a hosting provider who uses Plesk, give Kinetics a call. WP Engine, I don't know much about these guys. I hear that they're okay. I actually, for full disclosure, I work for WP Engine. We've been proudly supporting the WordPress meetup for a number of years now, and we're a WordPress only host. So the only thing we do is WordPress, and everything's tailored for that. We also do a lot of the stuff that doesn't come with most hosting packages. So if you want to know more about that, give me a call, tap me on Slack, whatever. So this is WordPress Brisbane, and now we were talking about Slack earlier. For those who want to join Slack, go over to wpaustralia.org and you'll see a link there to join up. It'll just automatically kind of join you into our Slack channel. Highly recommend it. On that WP Australia site as well, there's a lot of links to other meetups. So when we do go back face to face, and if you're not in Brisbane or if you're traveling or for whatever reason, there's a meetup just about everywhere in the world. There's several of them around Australia. And if you travel around the world, you can find a WordPress meetup no matter where you go. Our next meetup, if all goes well, will be June the 11th. I'm guessing it will probably be online again because I can't see us being able to have more than 10 people in a room together in the near future. But let's hope that it lifts soon. As I was saying earlier, there's some other meetups around the place. You can see the ones we've got in Australia. There's quite a few, and you can check them all out at wpaustralia.org. Let's get down to the brass tacks. Tonight's speaker is Gal. Gal's been a long-time member of the community, and most people who have been around the WordPress scene know him very well. And he's going to talk to us about a plugin roundup, better speed, more sales. So, Gal, take it away.
Let me count them. I've got 6 plugins that I'd like to get through. 4 of them have to do with speeding up your site, or at least getting better good Google PageSpeed scores. One of them is to help you handle your media better than with the core media library. And one of them, there is now an opportunity from Google to have organic listings in Google Shopping. So Google Shopping used to be only a branch of AdWords for what they called shopping ads. So you submitted a product feed in what they called Merchant Center. And then Merchant Center automatically created ads from that and showed them on Google Shopping, but and also showed these ads on Google Search as well, shopping ads. But about a month ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, Google announced that because of all the hardships that small businesses are having in the world, they've opened up Google Shopping to free listings, organic listings. So now any site can submit a sorry, can submit a Google feed, a Google product feed to Merchant Center, and then show ads. And it's great because until now, because product pages tend to have very, very sparse content, very little content, then product pages used to not do very well in organic search. Anyway, it's a long introduction to my show last. All right, so let's do some screen sharing. You guys, I know most of you are muted, but can you let me know if you can see my screen? Didn't realize there was a thing like that. Okay, so first plugin. What was that?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, so there's this plugin called CAOS, or Optimized Analytics. And step back. When if you've ever done a speed test on your site, then whatever system you use, it likely told you that some things there don't use browser caching, and so they're bad for performance. And when you looked further into it, you saw that these were the Google Analytics scripts and Google fonts. So I'm going to show you two plugins. One is CAOS, so it's loading the analytics script from your own site, which means you can subject it to browser caching. And the other one is OMGF. So it's to optimize Google fonts. So essentially, if your website uses Google fonts, then this plugin, and then you can optimize their delivery and get better scores. So let's look at the first one. So this one, when you activate it, what you have to do is grab your analytics tracking ID. Is there anybody who doesn't use analytics? No? Okay. So you basically go into the admin of your analytics. Said no. So if anybody said yes, is that yes, I use analytics, or yes, I don't use analytics? I don't use Google Analytics. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. Got it. Okay. So if you don't use Google Analytics is a free system from Google that will help you monitor the performance of your site and help you optimize it for different things. It tells you where you got your traffic from and what pages are most popular and how long people spend reading them, and you can track form submissions and all kinds of other things. Okay, so there are two methods of tracking. Google is now moving to GTag, which is handled via Google Tag Manager, but I'm already using the analytics tracking on all of my sites. Anyway, when you add analytics to the site, you typically add that comes from that analytics generates, and it looks something like this. This URL then says something about instead of your domain, it'll have analytics.google.com. And what this plugin does is it downloads the analytics script and caches it locally and gives you a script where instead of the Google URL, you have a local URL from the cache. So that's the cache folder. Now, these are settings would be, which means it's going to go into the header, and by default, which is how most people. So save that. All right, now the plugin updates the Google Analytics script occasionally. So what happens is Google actually release new versions of the analytics script. So you can't, and it matches what they do on the server side. So you want to keep up to date. So the plugin has a scheduled job that runs in WP cron and refreshes the analytics script. I think it's done every 2 days. Settings. So I use it for all of my sites, and you can see that if I choose that, the form becomes shorter. Some of the things it's going to leave for Monster Insights to control. But if you don't have any sites, so the person is not using analytics, this plugin can just be used to connect your site to analytics. It caches it locally, but also if you don't have that functionality, to do it. You can serve it from a CDN, but okay. So there are various optimization options. Reconnect just means that the website will establish a connection with the analytics server at the same time that the page loads. So it's not going to wait for the page to load, see that it needs to connect to analytics, and then connect to the analytics server. It's going to do this right from the start. If you want to capture outbound links, that's an extra version, extra feature that you can turn on here. I would say all of these are fairly, you can just leave the defaults. One important one is track logged in administrators. You probably don't want that turned on, and it's turned off by default, but the idea is that when you're logged in, then it doesn't track you, and that's a good thing. Now, this plugin, so you can decide what path to use for the caching. One particular thing to note here is if this path has the word analytics anywhere, so seem like it means much. There are two scripts. If you have an e-commerce site, then when you log on, when you load the analytics script, it requests another script from the analytics server called ec.js for enhanced e-commerce. And then if you use if you use enhanced link attribution, then you also need link ID.js. So this you probably want to be on experimental because it's a bit faster, and only if you have problems. Now, to bypass what now is people vary in the numbers they give, but between 15 and 30% of your site users may be using some form of ad blocking. The problem with ad blocking is that it goes by string patterns, and it blocks things that don't belong in your domain. So if your domain is, like in my case, dev2.getbusinessonline.com, and you're loading something from analytics.google.com, the ad blocker will say, hang on a second, that's not from your site, therefore it must be some tracker, or it must be something to do with advertising, and then it blocks it. So you don't get the tracking. So with the free version of this plugin, you can on Light, and it supports, as you can see, ec.js. It doesn't support the link ID. No, sorry. It's bypass it for analytics.js, but if you want the other bits to track your e-commerce and to bypass more ad blockers, like mine is exceptionally aggressive, and I work with the author of the plugin so that I specifically don't get blocked. So that was nice. But that's a premium plugin. One thing I'm gonna do is I send you in the chat.
Hey, Cal, just noticed that your people are saying your audio is dropping in and out.
Oh, okay.
Might just have to speak a bit clearer into the microphone.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so paste in the chat a link. Full disclosure, it's an affiliate link, but what I've done is I've haggled with the developer, and if you follow this link and then type in and enter the discount code on the plugin page, then you'll get 20% discount. And if that's not enough, following some feedback, he actually dropped the prices. So yeah, I bought it when it was more expensive. But you get it cheaper, and you get 20% off of that. Okay. Now, there is a feature of Google Analytics to do A/B testing. It's called Google Optimize. So this plugin supports Google Optimize integration, but you can't use it with stealth mode. So that sucks. But anyway, let's see what this looks like. Right. So see that the plugin basically inserts code to the all the way down here. So it inserts this block of code into your page, and you're ready to go on your analytics tracking. Okay. Okay, so that's analytics. And remember, the aim of this is if you're not connected to analytics, it will connect you to analytics. But if you are connected to analytics, it will speed up the delivery of the analytics script because it delivers it from your site. And if anybody, if somebody looks at 3 pages, they will already have the script on page 2. Because if you got it directly from Google, they would have to get it from Google on page 2 and get it again from Google on page 3. Cool. So, is optimize my Google fonts, OMGF. And what this does is this font, this particular font, I set it up Roboto, and then I'll show you some other way. Show you another way. Interesting. Okay, so look at this, then you'll see that it's coming from fonts.googleapis.com, and so it's loading the Roboto font. Actually, you can see it in the Roboto. I've included that gets the file from googleapis.com. It's not on my site, and it's not subject to browser caching. So this plugin is I can click auto detect, load the latest post or whatever, and then the page, and you can see that the theme is using Roboto. And now, if I know that Roboto is needed straight away when the page loads, which in my case happens, what I can do is I can not only put the font onto the page, preload them. So remember, preloading means while the page is loading, the browser already knows to go and fetch the fonts. So they load up much faster. You know how sometimes you have the text displayed in one font and then it flickers and it changes the font. So preloading prevents that to the browser a lot quicker. And then there's no flicker, and it's better user experience. So it's probably the fastest thing. All of your fonts, if you have fonts that are only in the footer, they'll be ready by the time the footer comes along. To the footer. So be economical with it. So the next thing you do is you download the fonts, and then you generate the style sheet. Then what we'll do is we'll go to here. You can see that local files loaded. The 300 weight and the 500 weight, which I use for the. You can still see the analytics font. Sorry, I'm still at analytics. You can still see the font that's being loaded from Google APIs. So what we do for this is right, let's remove Google Fonts and save the settings and reload again. And you can see that the Google Fonts remote font is not loaded anymore. And if we reload the HTML of the, you can see it where fonts are from on site from OMGF web fonts and reloaded. So this is as fast as you can get. Fonts are then cached on your site. They're subject to browser caching and are happy. And if you need to make it faster, scores, you can put it on swap. But what swap will do is it will show if the font files have not been loaded yet, show the content with some default font, and then okay. Audio. Okay. Sorry, it just seems like I have an audio problem.
Hey Gal, I think one of the lead on your micro and your headphones might be a bit loose or something, but so
Okay.
it's dropping down every now and then. Just be careful of moving your lead, I think.
Oh, okay.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, in terms of volume, I'm looking at the right. Tell you what, because you're not speaking, can everybody hear me now? Is this better?
Yep. Give that a go and see how we go.
Okay. Don't need any. Yeah, let me know if things get worse.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be the connection. I don't know. Okay. So you can essentially, if you do a swap website and make sure that it's not okay. Well, that might be my connection. I'm not sure what to do. Tips, advice? I don't know. Yeah.
I think just as long as you speak up, it seems to be fine.
Pick up and slowly. Okay, then. If you put it on swap, anyway, if you put it on swap, make sure that the site's not flickering. If it's flickering, especially on a mobile phone that doesn't have the bandwidth, then set it back to auto, yeah, or block. Depending on what's more important to you, speed or user experience. Yeah, again, the other options are kind of fancy. One particular one is Web Font Loader, and this one will improve your page speed score because it doesn't bother with the fonts, so that the font loading doesn't stop the page load at all. It's completely asynchronous, but it's very likely that you will see a flicker. So user experience is, so speed even faster, user experience even worse. So has to do with your preferences. Enable preload for the style sheet. Again, that'll speed it up, but if you're using a caching on or a minification plugin, and this again, your own site when you're logged in and see the same thing that people are seeing, that other people are seeing when they're logged out, you need to keep this turned on. Actually, 2 releases ago, it was turned off, and a group of us complained, and so it's now turned on. It's good. Did you want to ask any questions about either of the plugins I've talked about so far? Anyone? Okay, let's keep going then. Okay, so Alex, sorry, I forgot his last name, died. The guy who wrote Regenerate Thumbnails. So that was a tragedy to the WordPress world because he was a cool dude and a talented developer. But Automatic took over his plugin and for a long time didn't respond very well to anything really. And I had some conflicts with other plugins and things I needed sorted, and so I looked for an alternative, and this is one I found really new. The author's name is Julia Kazan. She's Romanian, and she's awesome. She really makes changes quickly and fixes things quickly and listens to her audience. And I worked with her on integrating with the EWWW image optimizer, which I use a lot. But essentially, this plugin allows you not just to see what sizes you have and regenerate. You can disable them. So for example, WordPress now has 2 new default sizes, and I don't use them anywhere. So I can just ignore them. And subsequently, when I upload an image, this thumbnail won't even be generated, which is good. And one other thing you can do is you can override quality setting. So the default is 82, but if you don't need quality, you can put it down lower, or if you really care about quality, you can put it up higher. And also you can do this, say, just for the medium size, because it appears on mobile phones and they, for example, but not on large devices, because on desktops maybe it doesn't matter that much and you want to keep the files small. Now, what you can do with of the sizes is you can regenerate all of the plugins. Sorry. Oh, goodness. I'll tell you what, this presenting on Zoom is stressful, man. So you can regenerate all of the thumbnails of a particular size, and you clean them up. And so in some cases, I don't know, you have junk left over, you can clean everything up and then regenerate. You can set the crop position if it's cropped. And there are some other settings. For example, if you do click regenerate and you have regenerate only missing files turned on, it will not regenerate sizes that are properly sized already. So basically, if you've uploaded files using FTP, for example, it will only regenerate them. It won't regenerate files that it already sees that they're properly sized. Show small buttons, so I like that. All right. And another option that I've used is up unused files and keep registered sizes files. So if you file size from your website, and this action will go over all of your images and the metadata for sizes that you don't have registered anymore, and it will remove the corresponding files. So it's really good for cleanup, not just for regenerating. Now, what else this plugin does? So it adds these buttons. I clicked on using small buttons, but essentially this button is to show the details and to get to more things. And this one is to regenerate the thumbnails just for one image. So the Regenerate Thumbnails plugin had a bulk regenerator, and this one does it, or it does it for the whole size. You can change things specifically for this image. Image size you can, and you can regenerate it. See sizes that you're meant to have, but and at the bottom you see the ones, you see all the details about the files that you have, and you can delete them. Yeah, so if you use this plugin to delete anything, it keeps all the metadata in sync. So that's actually good. So it doesn't leave orphans. And it gives you details about the original file, so where it is and what size it is, sorry, what dimensions, and how big it is. So it's a pretty cool one. And buttons are available on the screen as well. All right. All right. Sorry. Okay, so enough of this. Okay, so one more plugin I wanted to show. Okay, sorry. Alex Mills, thank you, Dion. Yes, Alex Mills. At a young age, my goodness, so sad. I think he was a biker, like he liked riding push bikes. Seemed to be in excellent shape, but still died of cancer. All right, so any questions about image regenerate and select crop, which is a really unfortunate name? If anybody is using EWWW Image Optimizer, the image regenerate and select crop integrates with it, so you can change the images to the image sizes, the registered image sizes. You can disable them in either plugin, and it works okay. And when you regenerate, it also optimizes. So both authors have come together and worked their magic, and plugins work together, which is great for me. All right, so it's called Media Library Assistant. I recently created a website for my daughter, and she's a model and an actor, and she had a whole bunch of actually, why don't we I'll show you the real thing. Give me a chance to be a bit of my creation. All right, so assistant. This plugin creates a fork. It's not the same as the media library, the modified one, which means that if the media library changes in core, it's okay. Assistant will remain the same. It will. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Okay, so let's look at the settings first. So when you load the page that's now loading in the other window, you can decide whether to list, for each image, to list the column and to show if each image is featured in a post. Inserted in, it's going to, the reason it loaded for so long was because I had a lot of images shown on each page load, and I have all of these charts. So it's showing whether it was inserted any content. It scans all of the post types. I know it does products because I saw that on another site. So I think in any type of post, and it also looks at galleries, and you can say cached if you wanted to look for gallery for images in galleries only once, and then you can refresh it occasionally. Now I haven't played with these, but what you can also do is you can configure how to order, and you can configure the search. So you can see the search form. You can decide what attributes of the image to search. So I sometimes want to look for things just in the file name or in the alt text, and the media library by default doesn't do that. And you can decide whether you want to look in title or alt text, or in title and alt text. So whatever you search has to appear in both, which really narrows down the selection if you've done a good job. You can see that I wanted to rename my daughter's photos by the photo shoot. So what I could do with Media Assistant was I could click on a number of images, and I could say change any of the attributes, and all right, sorry, oh, here we go. So I can click on the update button, and it updates all of them, and it does a little bit of animation, and then it kind of moves them to the middle for processing, on the to the right for completed, so you can see the progress, and it does it in batches of up to 25. The other thing you can do is you can click on a single image and then change just that image and click on update. You can do is, for example, I have a page with ID 700, and you can see that there's no, the image is not considered attached. I can just put here as the number and just copy it. And I can do this to multiple images when I edit them all. And that 578 images, I think I had 563 when I was doing this, in something like 7 or 8 galleries. And in about 20 minutes, my daughter and I took care of all of the titles and all of the text. And we also renamed the files, and 20 minutes, but 563 images would have cost a really, really time. Nice. Okay. Questions? No questions. Okay, what's the next one? So we covered performance and media. Let's see the next one. I was looking at PageSpeed, and I had been using fastest cache, and I realized that it didn't. First of all, I had to buy the premium version, and that has a cost associated with it. And so it's a license, it's a lifetime license, but it's per site. And so I was looking for something free, because every now and again there's something good and free. And also I was looking for something that had an option to use what's called critical CSS. Critical CSS is styles that you use above the fold. And what happens is you want to put them in the HTML, because then the bit above the fold, especially on mobile phones, doesn't require any additional files to display properly. So all of the layout and the positioning and the font and everything, it just works as soon as the bit above the fold loads. And then by the time people scroll down, the style sheets can take care of the rest of it. So I was looking for that, and I found I happened to be on a Lightspeed server, and so I found Lightspeed cache plugin. Does absolutely everything that that I've looked at, and it does a better job in getting PageSpeed scores than fastest cache, and particularly if you use the critical CSS. Now, the nice thing about CSS is that I just want to see where it's at. No, not here. Oh, they've changed something. Sorry about that. It does something. It are servers that belong to the Lightspeed company that generate critical CSS for this particular plugin out of the box. So essentially, you can see in the settings you can you have many options, but most of them I think are fairly self-explanatory. And I won't go through all of the things, but this is for browser caching. You can set up defaults, and it you can decide, for example, if I update a plugin, do I want to purge all the cache? If I update the theme, do I want to purge all the cache? And then you can decide what to purge in those instances. You can particular URLs and so on, and have different hooks that. See you, Lisa. And you can decide when to do the purge. So that's the. So that's fairly flexible. If you have any problems, you can different. So, for example, I've excluded no cache. So if I type a page URL and I put ? no cache at the end, then I get let's just see. So if I look at incognito mode, see these Lightspeed CSS rules. So that's the block, that's the, where does it end here? So these are the critical CSS to you. So whenever a page is cached on the server, it will communicate with that critical CSS generator service and will save the page with the corresponding critical CSS. So that really speeds things up. As you can see, it doesn't, if we look for CSS files, there's only two. One of them, and this one, the main one, contains everything. And this one is just one I've excluded. So basically, I realized that when that's merged, I have styling issues. So I excluded it. It's still not ideal because what this means is that this particular style sheet is not minified, and it appears after overrides them devices, and I'm still haggling with them on this. But essentially, unless you exclude something, yeah, everything on your site should be minified into the same CSS file. And same thing, and it puts it all the way down at the end of the file, so it's as late. It's processed as late as possible. Actually, it splits up into a few of them. Yeah. First, what it can. And you can see that the page was optimized. I show you the unoptimized page. Not to panic, but you can see it's a lot sparser, and you can see there's many file sheets and many. See that there's a lot of work that goes into this, and there's no critical CSS. I didn't want to. I'm planning on showing you the page speed scores, so just trust me on this. Get serious scores. It really, if you're on a Lightspeed server, then now yeah, this one's a bit advanced, and this one is if you have an object cache, which I don't, and people don't. Whether you want to browser caching, is if you want to have like a canonical HTTPS, which helps you secure your site if you're on HTTPS. And this one is specifically for WooCommerce. It doesn't have all the options. I've already there's no perfect plugin, I think, anywhere. So, and it's always horses for courses, but this plugin is free. It actually uses the server software. So it doesn't use PHP to do much of its work. PHP just calls functions inside the Lightspeed caching server, and that's already compiled code. So it works faster because it doesn't have to compile any code. And that's about it. Any questions about plugin? No. Okay, cool. All right, so like I said at the beginning, Google now opened up Google Shopping to free ads, free listings for products, which is great. So one plugin that seems to work great out of the box is it's called WordPress. Hang on. WooCommerce Product Feed Manager. Full name. Essentially, I'll show you the add new page because it allows you. There are very popular that you can use that just Google. So you have Google Shopping, that's a free thing. You can have Google AdWords. You can have Facebook and Amazon, and I think but you have Facebook and Amazon, so that's a really good option. And what happens here is you can select the feed by tag, by category, or filter. So the custom filter, you can set up all kinds of rules. For example, if you have a stock keeping unit schema, so it's encoded in a way like from you can to include or exclude, and say it contains or it starts with, or not starts with, but doesn't contain or whatever. But I did a particular product. Refresh interval allows you to post the feed to Google Merchant Center. So rather than Google Merchant Center retrieving it from your site, it can push it. So on a setup per hour of the day, or if you do it weekly, particular day of the week. Whenever you need to. Nice thing about this one, some plugins don't do variable products, and this one does variations, so it includes each variation as a separate product, which is cool. You can include the parent product or not. Then you remember we chose the merchant type, so in this case it's Google Shopping, and you basically tell it into each. So these are the formal attributes that Google expects. So this field is G:ID, and this one is G:title in the feed itself. To either include a static value or an attribute. Wide selection, including some Yoast attributes if you have Yoast SEO, and custom, you can add custom attributes. So for example, feed link added like a custom field attribute. And yeah, it still doesn't work with variations because it's to the product, so it's not picked up. But again, no, the plugins aren't necessarily perfect. If you choose the main image, then it all works. Yeah, so I have custom attributes called gbrand and gmpn. So I assign them to the brand and mpn, and you can assign, for example, that's a suffix. So the currency needs a suffix. So you can set up the currency, and this is a bit advanced, but output limit, you can limit, for example, the description. You can limit the description to 300 characters if you want. But if it's 0, then... and this is the feed. So you can see that it puts a G: ahead of every attribute. And yeah, so put the ID and the title and everything all nicely wrapped in C data tags. Yeah, it's pretty good. And one particular thing that, or two particular things that I want to show you are the mapping. So you have to map your categories, your product categories, to Google product categories. Now, the way you do it is, say I want to map add-ons, and I want to map it to, let's say, books. Sorry. That gives you the option. So it's a quick search. Anything that contains books will appear, and you can select it. So that's really easy. And so I called it Google Shopping Categories, and that's what I saved as a set of translations between my categories and the Google categories. Sorry, I'm back here. There we go. Google product categories. It gives, there's a section here, category map, and so and the maps we created here. And okay, in the chat. Yeah, I've just got one more thing to show. One particular thing is you can, at this stage, you can grab the URL from here and you can put that into Google Merchant Center. But if you want the site to push feed, then they have a video on how to set that up. You submit and you authenticate. It's a little bit advanced, but it gives you the advantage that whenever you regenerate your feed, you can send it to Google Merchant Center and it'll update immediately. So that's that. And any questions?